I write a pretty good Christmas letter. In fact, on years that I don't send that letter off on time, I get comments from loved ones worrying that they've been dropped from the list. I think that one of the reasons why people like them is that they're lighthearted, not dragging on about the concussion I had in May or our struggles with a child with Asperger's. I mean, really. Do you want to spend your holidays reading about my gallbladder surgery? Or would you rather hear about the antics of Philip the Great and the Magnificent Three? Now, to clarify, I do not run a magic show. Philip the Great is often called the boy child, a brilliant young man on the autism spectrum who is funny and literal and one of our joys. The Magnificent Three refers to my daughters, Clara, Zoe, and Naomi. Why do I lump them together? Because they're triplets. Let me quickly insert my disclaimer here. I'm going to step away from my sweet, lighthearted, fun Christmas letter rhetoric to jump directly on my super twins soapbox. Yes, they actually call triplets super twins. And I'm gonna get real. Disclaimer done. When our family is out in public with our children, we often find ourselves at the center of attention. It was worse when they were younger. What a sight we made. Walking with the triplet stroller that could only be transported, hitched, to the back of our minivan. People would stop, and they would stare, and they would point, sometimes elbowing a complete stranger to join in the stopping and the pointing and the staring. At the ages of 7 and 11, it's a little better and easier to travel without the stroller to visually announce our presence. In public, the children are not poorly behaved, but they're also not the sweet and gentle children I imagined I'd have. You know the kind. Walking together in 2 straight lines. Please and thank you on their lips. Nope. Mine have their own bright personalities and don't pay much attention to the world around them, perhaps because they know it only takes a moment before they're noticed. And then it begins. I can see the wheels turning in their heads and the questions they want to ask me when they spot my family go ahead, I think, as they either inch or barrel their way toward me and mine. Make my day. I've heard them all and can almost not flinch when I see them coming or hear their questions. It usually starts with, are they triplets? It's not a big deal and a perfectly good question, so we usually simply offer a friendly smile and say yes, turning away. This would be the perfect end of the relationship until they insist on furthering the friendship by starting what I call the interrogation. I really just need to wear a shirt with a list of everything you always wanted to know about my family and were unfortunately not afraid to ask. And here they are. Honest to God, these questions actually came out of a stranger's mouth. Are they triplets? Were they natural? Did you have IVF? Do triplets run in your family? How do you manage all that? How do you breastfeed 3? Do you ever wish you only had 1? Now, turn to the nearest stranger and ask him or her one of these questions. Why don't you try out, how do you breastfeed 3? Or do you ever wish you only had 1? It's a bit awkward. Somehow, when people see a set of multiples, they get curious, and their social filter falls off. So, I am going to take a stand and start answering the questions the way they deserve to be answered. Are they triplets? No, you need to see an eye doctor. Were they natural? Well, they're not robots, if that's what you're asking. Did you have IVF? Does it matter? Do triplets run in your family? Well, they do now, really, ever since they started walking. How do you breastfeed 3? Sir? And it always comes from a man. My eyes are up here. Do you ever wish you only had 1? This one, I think I'll start with a stare, and at least 1 raised eyebrow. And after letting the silence get uncomfortable, I think I'll ask, do you ever wish you hadn't asked a mother that question? And since I'm standing tall on my super twin soapbox, let me just say that men have it much, much easier. Tim, my husband, mostly gets a pat on the back or a comment referring on that awesome tricked out stroller. Even sympathy when they see he has triplet girls. And several times, he's been congratulated on his hat trick. Really? I love my children more than life itself, and I just happen to be blessed with a set of triplets. Motherhood is about children, and whether they came in a set or not, they're ours, and they are great and magnificent. So, now that you know how moms of multiples really feel, the next time you see a set of multiples at the park or at the mall or at church, set an example for the less thoughtful stranger and say, "What a beautiful family you have." Or better yet, "Move along, there's nothing to see here."